It's Rob!
Tony! And I'm Jeff.
We're in gaming!
And that's you.
Hello gamers and welcome back to the inn. I'm Rob, of course, or Warshack if you want to call me that, and we will be knocking out some Fatigue Warrior today, a really different kind of deck to play. It does, if you're used to Control Warrior, you'll get the hang of this really easy, but if you normally play like a lot of mid-range or aggro decks, this is definitely going to be a deck that you're going to have to play, I wouldn't say a lot, but a decent amount more than some of your others to get the learning curve down, because like I said, it is played a little bit different, and we'll kind of go through that as we move across in the deck guide. For those of you who are new, I'm keeping the War Axe, and I'll explain why in a second, probably getting rid of everything else. But for those of you who are new, we play 3 ranked games. We win all 3 ranked games, and I go through the deck, why I have what in it, why I do what I do, and hopefully you guys can enjoy and learn something. So, from there, of course, like I mentioned, we keep the War Axe. War Axe and Death Spider, just two of this great cards you keep off the bat. Very powerful weapon cards for the Warrior, so always keep those if you get them. Okay, so probably throughout this we'll talk about the deck list on the side because the Fatigue Warrior decks definitely run a lot longer games than normal decks because the whole point is to make your opponent, we won't attack this. We're going to wait for him to buff it, then attack it because we have Bash in our hand. So ideally he power wards it and we swing Bash and our weapon into it next turn. He wastes a buff on a card and doesn't really get any benefit. So power ward shield. You always have to know your opponent almost better than your deck. And with a Priest, you better believe they're going to cast Velen's Chosen on turn 3 and or Power Ward on turn 1 or 2. So like I said, we're going to kill this off and end our turn. The best method to do like armor gaining abilities and then attacking with weapon, which I did completely wrong here by the way, you attack with your weapon first, you take your face damage, and then you cast your armor spell. So normally we would be at 3 armor right now instead of 2. In this circumstance it doesn't really matter because it's that early in the game. Because we're going to lose our armor anyway when we attack this with face and then bash it. But again, if we would have bashed it first and then attack face, that would be wrong. You definitely want to save armor. Armor is more valuable than health with the Warrior because of your shield bash and or Alexstrasza. And so it's better to have, 5 health and 15 armor than 15 health and 5 armor or whatever you want to do because Alexstrasza will benefit you more. And normally with Alexstrasza, you use it defensively, depending on who you're playing against, but I'm sure we'll play a Warrior or something like that where we'll use it offensively. We'll see. So from here, we'll shield block, see what we can draw into. If we don't draw into anything too great, we'll just shield slam the Azure Drake. I guess a different mode of play would have been to use our passive there and just shield slam and keep the shield block for when we need it. But since we were going to definitely use the shield slam on the Azure Drake, keeping the block really doesn't matter because you normally save those two together to kill a 5-drop creature with 4 mana. Alright, well, yeah. So, definitely throwing out the True Heart here. True Heart's depending even on who you're going against, with it being a 6-drop, you may even keep it if you're playing against a Priest in your opening hand. Priest decks are pretty slow at first if they don't draw the right card. Oh god, he killed my Jescar. We can expect that. He wasn't going to use a Shadow Ward Death on it, so the Corruptor was like his best secondary, well, the best first option, and then I guess Shadow Ward Death would have been second. So from here, there's a couple lines of play, but we're just going to go with Armor Up and play the Shield Belt, or the Sledge Belcher. I guess we could have... I was looking at Bouncing Blades, but it just seems a little premature. We kind of want to wait till he plays like a Chromacus, a Ysera, cards like that. He brought his Corruptor down to 1 HP, which tells me maybe Revenge is going to be good next turn. Okay, him playing Cleric is nice, and then he's going to heal his Drake. This is fine. So normally in any other deck, you look at this, you're like, shit, he just really made a really good play there. He's drawing cards, he's put cards on the board. But when you're playing Fatigue Warrior, that's fantastic. You draw as many cards as you need, man. Just... Keep lowering the amount of cards in your deck, please. So from here, I believe we're going to Revenge, kill that, Armor Up, and then Shield bash the 3/6. Because we definitely need to kill 5/1. That's too much attack and too little of health not to take care of. We could execute it, but again, we kind of want to save execute for some of his bigger creatures. And we're going to kill off that Drake, play the Deathlord, and end our turn. Of course, Armor Up as well. I'm not going to say Armor Up every time I Armor Up. When you were able to Armor Up for 4 armor every turn, you better believe you're armoring up in every single turn with 4 armor. It's just your whole plan is to get as much armor as you can to keep your opponent at bay as long as you can until they have no cards left, and then you just win. There's no possible way any class can keep up with you having 30 or 40 armor going into them having no cards. There's not enough spoof in their deck. Him drawing more cards, fantastic, guys. Also, I'm going to be drinking a lot of water. My throat's killing me, and then talking this much, it's literally like it's horrible. But I'm going to do it because you deserve it. So him drawing cards is fantastic. We want this Northshire Cleric to live as long as possible. Normally, we'd want to kill Northshire Cleric because we hate the bitch and our opponent drawing cards is just horrible for us. But again, this is Fatigue Warrior. Him drawing, perfect. So we did play Deathlord, which means it's susceptible to the, I believe it's called a Shadow Priest. It's a Cabal, yeah. So he could take it, which would be bad. But again, it's not too bad because him having a 2-attack creature doesn't bother us. Even the field he's playing now, he's pumping out, what, 7 damage? And that's not even a big deal. He can't even get through our taunt. So I think we armor up, swing face, just end turn. Of course, yeah, swing face and end turn. Because there's no, we're not going to, we don't, the thing about this deck, you don't have to deal with everything right away. If you've got the armor to take whatever he's going to dish out in one turn, you kind of want to let them build momentum. Like, he just Velen's chosen this Drake, which is fine. He's going to kill off the Deathlord, which is going to bring out another creature for him. And then he might even play another creature after this, and then we get a full value out of our Brawl. Hopefully he heals a card too, and he draws more, which is fantastic. He doesn't know I'm playing Fatigue Warrior, because Fatigue Warrior and Control Warrior blend very well together. So he should know it's Fatigue when we play the Deathlord, but some people think people play Deathlord, or actually some Control Warriors do play Deathlord to stop the early aggro from, you know, the aggressive Shaman decks that are now out. But for the most part, Deathlords and Warrior decks mean Fatigue, but I guess this guy didn't take that note. So, do we even want to Brawl here? How much damage can he pump out? He pumps out like 11 damage. I think we Brawl here. 11 damage is a lot, or we could wait till next turn and maybe he'll play a couple more cards. We have 2 Brawls in hand. I think we might wait till next turn, to be honest. You know he's like, if he has the Brawl, he would use it, and if there's no way he wouldn't use Brawl in this situation, and that's what you gotta think. You gotta think, my opponent must not think I have Brawl because I have 4 pretty powerful cards out, so I'm gonna play as many more cards. Oh, there's another card. And hopefully he'll heal. Yeah. Oh, okay. He healed himself this time and not the Ezra Drake. So I guess Brawling the turn before might have been good because we're only gonna be able to kill an extra card 2/4 with this with the Brawl. And he definitely didn't heal his Ezra Drake, so he might know what we're playing. Or maybe he just doesn't want to lose cards. He probably has too many cards in his hand. So it's going to keep Northshire, which is the best card for him to keep on our end. Our hand is filling back up. At one point, we only had 3 cards in our hand and then a coin, and obviously a coin doesn't do anything. But in this situation, we're fine. We're sitting pretty. We've got plenty of armor. We got almost full health. He's drawn through like 2 or at least 3 or 4 of some extra cards in his deck that normally he wouldn't have if he didn't have Northshire out. So I think we're in a pretty good position. Priest, this is normally a pretty favorable matchup, and even when you're playing against another warrior, it's pretty favorable because I've built this deck so it has enough oomph to, you know, push out damage if it needs to, but it also is very defensive, and you don't have to play a creature every turn. You don't have to make, you know, value trades every turn. Ideally, you can just sit back. Hopefully, your opponent overextends on the board once or twice, get a good Brawl in there, and then just be able to pick off creatures with Execute, Shield Slam, Bouncing Blades, you know, Big Game Hunter, all of which is you're able to be utilized. So he's going to Velen's Chosen. So he's gone through 2 of his Velens. We've only seen 1 Northshire, and this is the second, I don't know what that card's called, but the 3/5 dragon guy. Okay, so Chill Maul. So definitely probably going to be casting Bouncing Blades next turn. Ideally, it kills off the Chill Maul. The Chill Maul explodes and kills off everything else. But if the Northshire lives, that's fine. It also has the most health. So, yeah, we'll see here. So it hits that. Oh, God. No, stop hitting that card. Oh. Yeah, buddy. The Northshire lives. So Deathlord passive. He's probably gonna. Ideally, he needs to heal the Northshire again. If he heals the Northshire, he's just digging himself a grave. The Deathlord could be bad if he steals it, but at the same time, it's only 2 damage against us, and it might bring out a card that we need, like Emperor. So there's not that many creatures in this deck to keep in mind. So like him getting the Deathlord really not that okay. I knew you once you play against Dragon Priest enough, you can kind of identify what they're gonna do almost every turn. It's one of those decks that it follows almost the same path every single game. Like turn 1, you've got the Little Dragon. Turn 2, you've got the Weirmist Agent, the 2/4 taunt. Turn 3 is Velen's Chosen. Turn 4 is Twilight Guardian and or the other, what is it called? Turn 4. What is that other 4-drop? I know there's one more 4-drop. Maybe Twilight Drake. And then turn 5, of course, is Corruptor. Turn 6 is... you get the... I'm not going to name out a whole entire priest deck here, but yeah, you get the gist. The deck follows almost that same path every game, and if they don't have those cards on those turns, that means they probably don't have them, and they got a really bad hand, and then you look towards the late game, which would be, you know, your Shadow Priest. So he bring out 2 North Shadows, which I don't know why he would do this, because... he's going to have to heal the Death Lord if he doesn't want me to pop it. So I'm going to play out the Death Bite, swing into the Death Lord, passive. And so he's going to heal the Death Lord if he wants it to live. But he won't because he'll overdraw. So I guess we get to kill the Death Lord. Hopefully our Emperor pops out. The worst thing that could pop out would probably be... no, there's really nothing that bad that could pop out. I guess a Dr. Boom, because you just Shadow Ward Death it. But yeah. Maybe a Shield Maiden, that'd be pretty bad because we don't get the armor. But ideally, we just kill it next turn. We'll also kill off the other Northshire Cleric, which is not so good because we do want him to heal. So maybe even killing the... it's a lot of damage. 6... it's 10 damage a turn. I don't think I can handle that. We're definitely not going to Brawl. That's not worth it right now. Because we can kill off that. We can actually kill off 2 cards with just 1 swing of the weapon. So, Brawling here is not favorable. So I think we just kill the Death Lord. And see what comes out, and then we play from there. And then we'll have to figure out how we deal with that 4/5. We could execute it. That'd be fine.
I wonder.
And then he'd only have a Northshire Cleric with a 1/2, and then he'd probably be tempted to heal it if he plays like 2 cards on the field. So I think that's a pretty good plan. Brings out the Shield Maiden. It's still a 5/5 or 5/4, I guess. And we'll play the War Axe and end our turn. I doubt he's playing Harrison. He doesn't seem like the guy who Harrisons because that's a tech card and that's like a choice you'd make on your own. And it looks like he'd net deck this. So you can kind of tell. Alright, so from here, I guess we'll move into the deck list. I don't see this guy making as too exciting of plays where we need to think critically about. So running 2 Executes and 2 Shield Slams, that's just kind of bread and butter in any warrior deck. That's not really that exciting. The War Axe is something, again, almost found in every warrior. Oh, is he going to kill off Northshire? What would he kill off Northshire to do? It'd bring the guy down to 3 HP and then he could Corruptor it. Twilight Guardian? I guess that has 3 attacks, so you can make a trade against that and it would kill it. Or we could just Gore Howl and kill the 3/6. And go face for 5 and of course armor up. Sweet. Gore Howl is a beast, by the way, in this deck. As long as your opponent doesn't have like an Acidic Swamp Ooze, Harrison, or what is that called? It's like Buccaneer. It's like a 1-drop, 1/2, destroy 1 durability off your opponent's weapon, which is a very popular card to pick, by the way. If you're playing against a Warlock and he plays Dark Peddler, he's most likely going to pick that card against you. So just be cautious when you're playing this deck and your opponent gets a Dark Peddler. That they have the ability then to maybe get rid of your weapon with 1 durability. So maybe bait out the War Axe first. Put 1 hit into them, see if they use it, and if not, you know. So we're going to throw out the Boom, which is a pretty greedy card in this deck, in my opinion, because we do have the 7-drop Gore Howl, and there are no Armor Smiths in the deck. So if you don't have Dr. Boom, or maybe some of the more expensive cards in this deck, you can actually put in 2 Armor Smiths, and that'll take care of your early game curve a little bit more than what it's in this deck. Right now, I've seen me playing a lot of control decks, so that's why I've taken out the Armor Smiths. But feel free to throw in those Armor Smiths if you do not have 2 other cards in this deck. But I mean, if you don't have Hellscream and Alexstrasza, or like Hellscream and Trueheart, and you want to build this deck, don't even try. You need Trueheart, you need Alexstrasza, you need like at least Hellscream and or Boom. So he's out of cards, and this is fine. This is gonna be game pretty much. I don't see why it wouldn't be. So we swing our bot into here. Hopefully our bot hits the 4/7. It does not. So we're just going to Bouncing Blades it. If he plays Chromacus, we can still... well, hopefully... I guess he would play Chromacus with another card. So maybe we could Brawl it out. And if not, it's not even that big of a deal. Because Chromacus, a 6 attack. We'll see what we draw into. We still have another Execute to draw into. So there's the Chromacus. It was Chromacus or Ysera, and this guy just seems... he's running 2 Velens and 2 Power Wards, which means Chromacus does a little bit better because of the draw with them. So we could Alexstrasza, be a little greedy, or we could Sludge Belcher and be defensive. So I think being greedy right now is fine. He's got no cards left. So ideally, if he kills our Alexstrasza, Hellscream comes out. If he doesn't kill Alexstrasza, we win. So he's gonna, wow. Red and Black Hand. Look at that guy go. these tech cards are on a loose right now. So he's going to Lie to the Naru and then heal himself back up. So he's going to be at 18. Lie to the Naru is going to be a 3-2. And we could brawl, and hopefully the Light Warden lives. But him being able to draw no more cards is what grants us victory. So we can't actually win yet with Hellscream combo, because that's only 15 damage. Actually, no, we can win with Hellscream combo and Revenge, because Hellscream, we play him, and then we Revenge, that turns him to 10, we Gorehowl face for 5, and then he draws and fatigues for 3. That's why, yeah, last turn he took 2, so this turn he'll take 3. So that's actually game. Revenge is what we needed there. And we end our turn, and he takes 3 damage. Yay! Okay, so looking back over at the deck list, Revenge instead of Whirlwind. Revenge, most of the time, this is what I was saying, you getting low health really isn't the end of the world because of Revenge, and this allows you to deal 3 damage to everything on the field, in consideration to 1. So if you're playing against, let's say, another Patron deck, a Hunter deck that plays Savannah Highmane, and then you can Revenge out the 2/2s that it brings out, it's just being able to do 3 damage on the field to everything is really, really powerful in this deck. So if you don't have Revenge, I guess you could play Whirlwind, but I find Revenge to be really helpful at really crucial situations when maybe you don't have Brawl in your hand, which we do run 2 of, by the way. Definitely running double Bash. I'm not even going to mention why that's good. 2 Bouncing Blades. Okay, so we're playing against a Hunter. Let's see what our starting hands is. I'll go back on the deck list in a second. This is a horrible hand. At least we go second. I'm pretty sure we get rid of everything here. Sledge Belcher is nice, but just not on turn 1. So, Bash, Revenge, Shield Maiden, Dr. Boom. So the Bash is nice and the Revenge is cool. If he's playing really like face Hunter, Revenge is really good right now. But if he's just playing like a hybrid mid-range or a hybrid rush, then Revenge isn't so great right now. So ideally, we want to draw into weapons. Nope. Okay, so talking about Bouncing Blades, this is like your big card field clear. Also, I had no idea until I used it. If, let's say they play a card with Divine Shield like Tyrion. Alright, looks like just passive here. So, only card on their field is Tyrion, and then you play Bouncing Blades. Bouncing Blades goes through the Divine Shield and keeps hitting the Tyrion until it's dead. I didn't know this until I looked at it. I was like, Tony, does Bouncing Blades kill Tyrion? And he's like, hold on. And then we find out the answer was yes. And so, yeah, that's definitely cool. Keep that in mind. Divine Shield does not stop the Bouncing Blades. So normally you just use this like we did last game with killing the Chill Maul. If they've got like 2 or 3 big creatures on the field with a lot of HP, it'll definitely kill one and probably get the other 2 pretty low health if you have decent luck. If you have bad luck, it'll just hit the same creature as many times as possible. So from here, we're just going to bash the Shredder. There's no reason not to. It has 3 HP. And then from here, we have the option to shield bash the 2/2. And I think this is a good play. Well, if we play the Sledge next turn and he weapons up, he's gonna make it through the Sledge. But if we kill the 2/2 now, he's not gonna make it through the Sledge in 1 turn unless he wants to kill command it, and that burns some of his burst potential later in the game. And also keep in mind when you're playing against aggressive decks, you probably won't fatigue them. That's not when the game will end. The game will end when they run out of steam and you kind of build your board up. Because again, I've built this deck in a sense that it allows it to not only be very defensive, but it has a decent kind of mid to late game. It's got the Sledge Belchers, Emperor to discount everything, Juskar. As soon as you have that, you definitely probably want to play it. The Shield Mains are 5/5s, and then from there, Gorehowl, Dr. Boom, and Gromass do a ton of work on their own. So remember, the early game in this deck is to conquered by the Death Lord and your War Axes and your Bashes, and then the late game is Shield Mains and Gorehowls. So it definitely curves out nice if you get a decent hand. So he's going to Savannah Highmane, kill off our Sledge with his 1/2 Spider, making more spiders. So a Brawl would be fantastic in this situation, but yeah. So I think we coin out Boom. He's probably just going to go all face because Boom still has to make it through Sledge Belcher, and then the bombs have to make it through Sledge Belcher's extra little taunt. And the fact that he's playing Sledge Belcher tells me he's playing like this hybrid version of mid-range Hunter that has it has the Sledge Belcher for other rush decks and/or to stop people from clearing Savannah Highmane. Because most of the time when Savannah Highmane hits your face at least once, which I mentioned in our mid-range Hunter video, you pretty much lose if you're the opposing end and Savannah Highmane takes a bite out of your leg. So he's going to Eagle Horn, and I believe he's just going to go all face. I don't see... I mean, I would go all face if I was him. Because it puts me in lethal, yeah. Because it puts me in lethal next turn. Yeah, that's a decent amount of damage he just shoved out. And we can't cast Revenge yet because we're 3 points off. Or 4 points off. So Juskar is nice, but when I said you play her almost a second, you always have her. This isn't always true. If we play her now, we would actually lose. So we're going to swing our Boom into the Belcher to clear it up. From here, we could Revenge, but again, that really doesn't solve us anything because our bombs would just die and the Savannah Highmane lives and so does the Mad Scientist. So we kind of want to see what happens when we swing our bombs into the sledge. Hopefully it doesn't kill the 1/1s. It does. Hopefully it hits the Savannah Highmane or the 2/2. It doesn't. So we're going to Sledge Belcher and passive. This will hopefully buy us one more turn. He'll take us... We're at 18 health pretty much. He's going to make it through the Sledge Belcher, most likely, and deal at least 5 to 10 damage to our face, leaving us somewhere, I'm assuming, to be like 8 to 12, which allows us to Revenge. And hopefully he doesn't play another taunt. Boom can make contact with Savannah Highmane, popping out the 2/2/2s. Then from there we can Revenge, clearing field, and hopefully playing Juskar that turn if we only require us to play 1 Revenge. If not, we'll probably Shield Maiden passive. So this is like one of those turning points in the game where your next play decides how the rest of the game lays out. So from him, if he has a taunt, now would be the perfect time to play it. So he's going to kill Command, so that's some of his Burst Ruin to kill the sledge. He's going to swing probably his 2/2 Mad Scientist into it, and then swing with the rest face. So hopefully, again, this is definitely... That's 6... Wow, he's actually going to pump out a fuck ton of damage. So that's 8, 11, that's 12 damage. We are going to be left at approximately... Oh, we still can't passive, so we're going to be left at 6 HP. A little lower than expected, but still not bad. So again, we swing our Boom into here. We Revenge like I said we would, clearing the entire board. And then we can Juskar, but that would again put us at 6 health and we couldn't armor up. But allowing us to Shield Maiden puts us at 11 HP. So let's say he had, you know, a Huffer or an Animal Companion. He could have just killed us there. So like... That was a lot of new Fatigue Warrior players would probably have played Juskar and been like, yeah, next turn we'll start the passive. No, you want to play Juskar on either turn 8 if you're in a tight situation so you can use the passive right away, or 10 where you passive Juskar passive and you get 6 armor for the turn. So in this situation, I'm pretty sure we can safely, because he has a secret and I don't know what it is, we're going to Juskar passive. It's kill off the Savannah and then swing into one of those Frozen Trap. Snake Trap. Wow, I was hoping that was a Frozen Trap, because then we would be able to play Shield Maiden again, but now we can't. And I guess we could have attacked first before doing anything, see if it was a Frozen Trap, and then worked from there. But yeah, well, it's done. So Revenge is looking like it's going to be in our future, so he's going to Hounds for 2 cards. Hopefully he doesn't have Leok, that'd be game. Okay, so he's going to Houndmaster 1 and probably just go all face again. He's going to put us at, what? 4 or 2 HP with this. He's gonna put us at fucking 2 HP. We are touching like death's butthole right now. Okay, so we're gonna swing our 5 into his 3/3 because we know we're gonna Revenge the clear field, which means we want to swing face with our Juskar, which is 6. We're gonna Revenge. We're gonna Shield Block to see what we can get. And we're going to passive. So this puts us, we went from 2 and we're now at 11 health in 1 turn. Fatigue Warrior for the win. He's got 2 cards in hand, and this is the point where the Hunters run out of steam. They do not have card draw, and they can pump out 2 damage a turn with their passive, but because we've Juskar, we actually get 2 armor up from that, and the Eagle Horn Bow is a very good draw for him. Fuck. The second best card for him to draw would be a Dr. Boom if he has it in his deck. Yeah. So we're going to throw down the Hell Scream and passive and swing for 4. We'll start applying the pressure. Again, this is the point of the game where it starts to head into our favor. If we could maybe draw into some more creatures and or maybe our other Shield Maiden, that'd be really, really nice. Really nice. So talking a little bit more about the deck list, we've been over the Bouncing Blades, use it against huge creatures or high HP creatures when they have them out. Running 1 shield block, normally you would think you run 2 because, you know, it gets the armor and you draw a card, but drawing cards when you're playing a Fatigue Warrior is a really bad thing, and it's really, really bad when you're playing against another warrior. So I will talk about that in a second, as soon as he decides he wants to go face with everything. Hopefully he attacks with his weapon now. He doesn't, okay. So, weapon, and I believe we swing our weapon into the 1/1. And then we go, okay. Snake Trap, that's pretty bad. So I'm pretty sure we're going to have to kill one of his 1/1s. If not, I guess we could push lethal next turn. If we Bouncing Blades, it hits our Hellscream, and we go phased with Hellscream. So hopefully if we Bouncing, there's a 25% chance it hits our Hellscream. If it kills a snake, that's fine too. It's still not going to be game on his part unless he draws into like a quick shot kill command. Doesn't hit it. All right. So I think we definitely have to passive, and then I think we kill one. It's 11. He can push 5, 7 damage. So if he draws into a kill command and he has one snake on the board, that's lethal. So we guess we definitely have to probably play it safe here. He's only used one kill command, so I don't see why we wouldn't attack a spider. There's always that chance. Always that chance. Better be safe than sorry. I doubt, like, now it's only 6 damage and we'd be out of range. So it's a secret. We've seen the double snake, so I'm assuming this is going to be a frozen the way he's playing it. I don't think it's going to be a bear, and I don't think it's an explosive. He doesn't seem like that kind of guy. Could be a snipe. Could be that guy. What would be the purpose of Bouncing Blades? I don't see it. So we'll kill off the spider, or the snake, passive, and because it's a frozen trap, I'm not not going to attack. No, I already ended our turn. I've already made that decision. We're not going to do that. Okay, so it's the reason this is still a really close game when normally it's not supposed to be. Him drawing into multiple secrets continuously is really bad because it allows his weapon to stick around. He doesn't actually have to attack with it right away, which is the problem because every time we have to get rid of a secret. So hopefully this isn't Frozen Trap. It is Frozen Trap, and he's played 3 traps, which tells me he doesn't have any more secrets in the deck. So we are going to Gore Howl passive, swing our Death Lord into the Mad Scientist, assuming he doesn't have another secret, which he does not. Okay. So now that Hellscream costs 10, we play him when we have lethal. We definitely have to armor up every turn. There's no situation in which we do not armor up every turn. So if we draw into like Alexstrasza, we definitely would Alexstrasza ourselves and not armor up in that situation. But we can't play Hellscream is the point. So he has more of a weapon on his creature. All right, so we're gonna swing it into this. We're going to execute the actually no, not execute. We're gonna swing it into it and then kill off the 1/2 with our Death Lord. And then do we play BGH, tempo BGH? I'm pretty sure we do. He's not. If he plays Dr. Boom, we're fine because we have other ways to like execute. So we're gonna end our turn. We got to start pushing some damage. This game has gone on too long. The longer this game goes on, I mean, it's still not bad for us, but he continues to get pretty lucky with his draws, with the secrets and all. Like, keep that Eagle Horn bow alive. That thing has gotten like 3 or 4 attacks out of it now. So there's the final attack. Hopefully it doesn't bring out to something too bad. Shredder's pretty bad. Deathbite's pretty good. So we're going to... I guess we have to Hellscream here. We kill the Hellscream into this. We big game into his 4/3, and we're going to be we're going to win next turn, or he's going to win next turn because we're going to be at 4 HP. And we kill this, and that, was that a mistake? I feel like it, no, it wasn't a mistake, because that was a card that allows your hero power to do 1 more, and if we would have kept it alive, his hero power would have done 3. So it looks like we win this game. Because we have a 10 and a 7, and it looks like, well, our plan was paid off. You gotta risk it for the biscuit, boys. You gotta just risk it for the fucking biscuit. I love biscuits. I actually hate biscuits. But we risk it for a biscuit, and we got the biscuit. Not that I'm gonna eat the biscuit. But yeah, that's one of the situations where if it would have gone on any longer, like, he would have boomed right there, and if we would have brawled and it wouldn't have picked up if it wouldn't have killed Boom, the bombs would have, if it would have hit 4 with the bombs, we would have lost there. So that was like a really good time to assume he didn't have lethal with Hellscream. Or when we used Hellscream, because I said we would have to push lethal with Hellscream when we played him. And it was going to be a really risky thing, because definitely us being able to passive every turn is very important when you're first low health, and again, going against a hunter with his passive pinging you every turn for 2 damage. If it was any other class, I wouldn't even worry about it, because we would have had like 20 armor by then. But yeah, it's bad. So I'm pretty sure we get rid of this entire hand. Definitely not something we want to keep against a Druid. We can assume he's going to play Darnassus Aspirant, so looking for that Bash or War Axe is really good off the start. Okay. So if he's playing, ideally we want him to be playing like aggro druid, because those are pretty easy to beat with this deck as long as we can make it past like turn 6. So as long as he doesn't start off with something like insane, we're good. So living roots for 2 Groots. Yep. So it looks like he is playing aggro druid. Very popular deck at the moment. I guess mid-range druid's pretty popular too, but I seem to be going against a lot of aggro decks for some reason. Like ranks 4 to 3 is just filled with like shaman aggro, druid aggro, warrior aggro. Who would have known? Warrior aggro. What is this? I'll be like, oh, another control warrior, and then he plays like Murgurgle on turn 1. I'm like, all right, and then he grabs a hunter passive or like a warlock passive. So we're gonna bash the knife jugglers for sure and end our turn. So, talking about the shield block, and again, why there's only 1 in the deck, it's because if you go against another warrior, having 2 is horrible, because you being, like, you getting the armor is good, but you drawing more cards is really bad. The warrior, the first person to the first person to get True Heart or to go into Fatigue normally wins. If you get True Heart, loses if you're going to Fatigue. So we're going to swing into the Shredder, of course. There's really no other play there that made sense. It's going to bring out the what is it, Master Swordsman or some shit like that? Master of the +1 attack. So this isn't too bad, because we'll just swing in the Swordsman, it'll kill the Groots, and it's not too bad. Depending on what he plays. So yeah, shield block, really bad if you're going against the same matchup, but it's good if you're going against like this aggro matchup here, and we actually have it in our hand, speaking of the devil. But normally, I think 1 is enough. You can actually go about this with running none. So ideally, we want the sword, the +1 attack, to land on the 1/1, so it dies to the death rattle, which it does. If we would have hit the Darnassus Aspirant, we would have took 1 more damage than normal, because we smash into the Darnassus Aspirant and it kills the 1/1s without attacking it. And then the choices here is to definitely going to shield block here, because there's going to be probably not a good time to use it anywhere in the future, and we definitely need to draw into better cards. Bouncing Blades is nice. And then the option is to shield slam this 1/2 or not. I think we do. The only problem with this is if next turn he has like Druid of the Claw. Yeah, so he just thanked me. So that tells me he has Druid of the Claw in his hand, because he thinks I don't have a way to get rid of it. But Bouncing Blades does what we need to do to it. Yeah, so this guy's pretty cocky. None, to say the least. So we could weapon up and armor up. That'd be retarded, because it doesn't get rid of the 4/6 on the field, and allowing the aggro druids to keep cards on the field is really bad, because they run Soul of the Forest, which allows them to make more cards out of cards. So we're just going to kill it off, armor up. We don't put any pressure on the board with a creature, but we also don't let him know that we have a weapon in hand. So he just said sorry to make me think he has like some probably like double combo Innervate or some crazy shit like that, or he could just be cocky. For some reason I can say that. So he passive, which tells me he has a he just targeted my face. He's gonna swipe me. He just swiped my face. So he probably does have either 2 Force of Natures or a Savage Roar. So we're gonna play Boom. I'm fairly sure even with an Innervate, he doesn't have enough damage to push out. He has Force of Nature, Savage Roar, which isn't game at all. So if he pushes face right here and ignores Boom completely, depending on what he has, he obviously has a Force of Nature in his hand. So if he goes face with a Force of Nature, we have to draw into either a Taunt, Shield Maiden, or more armor. So he's gonna swipe the. Okay, so he's gonna swipe the Boom. Passive. If he swings. Okay, so he has a Living Roots in his hand, or he's retarded. Okay, so he killed off Boom, which is pretty much. I mean, we would have hit face once anyway, so I'm glad he hit face at least once. So, going to Hellscream here, swing face. Again, we could have played Sledge Belcher. That would have been in the... We could have Sledge Belchered War Axe again. That was an option there. It wasn't a bad play, but I feel like pushing damage is a little bit more important in this matchup right now, because we have the ability to. With 22 health, there's a time when this deck can be defensive, and there's a time where it can go offensive, and hopefully... Okay, so he's going face, which tells me these last 2 cards in his hand are Savage Roar, Force of Nature, because he turned that card invisible. And he's saying well played as if he has game, but we definitely have a Sledge Belcher. The Sledge Belcher, in comparison to the Shield Maiden right now, the Belcher, the taunts are more effective against Druid than putting armor on. So we're going to swing for 4, swing for 3, we'll push lethal. Actually, are we? That's 7, 10. Yeah, we're pushing lethal. Because we can revenge. Would have that been... No, that wouldn't have been game. I was gonna think if we Despited and then Revenged and then swung face, but there's no way. But yeah, so there's the Force of Nature. Do we see the Savage Roar? No. Keeping the Savage Roar. Okay, so the Shield Maiden, again, it will absorb, 5 damage due to the armor it gives, but the Belcher absorbs at least 2 of these soul, or the Force guys he summons. So definitely have you the option. Oh, and there's game. So we're just going to Revenge here and swing face with Hellscream, but we'll BM a little bit because he was being a bit of a jerk. So we'll throw down the Shield Maiden, we'll armor up, and then swing with Hellscream to know that, we're chilling at a pretty good... Okay, so he just conceded. We're chilling at a pretty good amount of health. That's why you don't BM, guys. You lose. So I'll talk about the deck list a little bit. Sorry I didn't go over it as much as I wanted to in the videos. There's a lot to talk about because there's a lot of different things you can do with this deck and a lot of different routes you can take when doing your plays. Obviously, I could have, in that one turn I was talking about, using Hellscream versus the Sledge Belcher, pushing damage and kind of putting a little pressure on him and keep, nicking at him while you can, while you don't have to worry about him comboing you out due to the fact that he either doesn't have enough mana or not enough cards in his hand. So just keep in mind that deck's definitely, the learning curve on this is going to be a little bit steep because normally when your opponent plays a particular creature, normally you always want to get rid of it or make a value trade with it, but in this deck, that's not always maybe the case. And then knowing when to, play defensively versus offensively is a learning curve on its own. So the shield block, we kind of went over that. I'm just going to swing by it again and just say that it's really good against pretty much running against the aggro, but like I said, I've been going against a lot of control decks, and going against a warrior deck, if you're playing 2 shield blocks, is really bad because you normally never shield block against another warrior unless you're shield blocking to shield slam to kill something. If you're looking to just draw with it, that's bad because the whole point of this deck is to make sure you have cards left and your opponents don't. That's why there's no Acolytes of Pain. So moving down to Big Game Hunter, this is, of course, your large-scale creature removal. The 2 Death Lords are, again, what we've mentioned and seen that does very well at stopping aggro decks. It also summons a creature out of your opponent's deck. Again, this is normally really bad, but in a Fatigue Warrior, the whole point of the deck is to make your opponents not having a lot of cards. What does Death Lord do? He takes a card out of your deck, like as if they were to draw it, and plays it for you. Most of the time, it doesn't play anything too harsh, like we've seen a Shredder come out of it. If you're playing against a Paladin and a Tyrion comes out, I mean, that's just bad luck, but most of the time, it summons like a Zombie Chow, a Shielded Mini-Bot, a Secret Keeper, there's normally more small to mid-range creatures than there are fucking huge creatures in decks. So the likelihood of it pulling out something astronomical like a Tyrion is, there's less of a chance for that. 2 Despites, of course, this is pretty standard in any warrior deck, and of course in the Fatigue. 2 Brawls, shouldn't have to explain why clearing the field is good. 2 Sludge Belchers for your defenses. Emperor Tharzan, this is kind of a hit or miss. We didn't actually see him in any of these games, which was kind of sad. But him being able to reduce everything by 1 is kind of nice. Especially if you're going against like an aggro deck and he can hide behind a Sledge Belcher and you're just reducing all of your cards over and over again. It's very powerful stuff when you hit into the late game. Juskar Trueheart, this is one of those cards you just can't go without. It's what made the Fatigue Warrior work so very well, because 4 armor per turn, if your opponent cannot deal with it or pump out the damage, or if they don't have the cards on the field to counteract that, you pretty much automatically win. Double Shield Maiden is pretty standard. It has the +5 armor and it allows a nice 5/5 body on the board. Gorehowl, this is because this deck has most of the time so much armor and not a lot of field control. Gorehowl puts that field control back into balance later in the game, because Gorehowl will be able to kill at least 3 creatures, and you lose nothing but armor, and you're gaining 2 armor per turn anyway, so you're almost making a trade. It's pretty much a 3-to-1 ratio with Gorehowl unless they kill it. Dr. Boom is definitely a little bit greedy in this deck, considering it doesn't work towards defending you, and it doesn't work towards making your opponent run out of cards. It's just a placement in here as a huge card your opponent is going to have to remove, and if not, that just either he'll make trades or he's going to swing face and make your opponent act defensive and if they act defensive and you're playing a defensive deck, works out well. So if you want to, of course, you can take out 2 of these cards like I mentioned before for a Armor Smith. That's always an option, or 2 Armor Smiths, I should say, because those are pretty defensive cards. They work very well against aggro decks, and they do give you armor, which works well with Shield Slam. So we're Grommash Hellscream. Not going to explain why this guy is amazing in a warrior deck. We've seen him in multiple of our games, and he definitely does work. In the Alexstrasza, we didn't really get to see her at all that much, but again, most of the time you'll use her defensively because ideally you want to get your health as low as possible and your armor as high as possible, so when you Alexstrasza, you almost make yourself go back to full health. But if not, you can use her defensively as well, or offensively as well. If you're playing against another warrior, most of the time you never, when you're going against a warrior, you'll notice that the entire game you're making trades and it's like a nutrition battle. You're just trying to get the most out of your cards every single turn because you're basically running the same deck. And then towards the later of the game, you've put no damage on them because the whole game you're trying to control the field and making sure that he doesn't overrun you. And then, so you're both sitting at high armor with pretty high health. Alexstrasza goes in there, brings him down to 15 health, most of the time taking anywhere between, again, 10 to 15 health away from him. They have no way to heal it back up. So just keep in mind that when you're playing Alexstrasza, or you're playing against a warrior, Alexstrasza is most likely going to be used offensively and not defensively. So hopefully you were able to learn a little bit from this deck guide. There's a lot more to say about this deck than what I've done. I've tried to keep the information rolling and give you what I think is most valuable, as quick as possible, and as simple as possible as well. So if you have any questions, concerns, comments, let me know in the comment section below. I always try to get back to you guys as soon as possible. Sorry about that. So with all of this said, guys, my throat's killing me. I'm Warshack and happy whatever the hell day it is.